Well, this is absolutely unbelievable, or I guess believable. Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Israel, former governor of Arkansas, says Gazans don't need food. They need Ozempic.
Brooke Goldstein is the author of End.
Why does Hamas hate GHF? One of the things they demanded in one of the negotiations just 2.5 weeks ago was that GHF had to be shut down. Why would Hamas want to shut it down? I'll tell you why. Because GHF method of getting food has really hurt their capacity to control the food market, and it's costing them money. Otherwise, they would say, sure, go ahead and bring the food in. All we care about is people getting to eat. But they don't care about people getting to eat. They care that they eat. And if you look at the people from Hamas, when they get photographed, they're well fed. None of them are hungry. I guarantee you, look at their faces, look at their bodies. And instead of food, they could use some Ozempic. Why does Hamas
what?
hate GHF?
Excuse me? They need Ozempic is what Mike Huckabee says. Are you kidding me? Wow. That is a new low. That is a new low. More denials. This is Brooke Goldstein continuing to deny that there's any starvation. You've got Cindy McCain, the former wife of, or the widow of John McCain, Republican, and she is in charge of the food, a lot of the food, and she says there's absolutely starvation. 500,000 people are starving today, and yet you've got all these deniers. Mike Huckabee saying they need Ozempic. That's what they need. And here's Brooke Goldstein saying something similar to that.
Brooke Goldstein is the author of End Jew Hatred and joins us now. She has a fantastic perspective on this. And Brooke, thanks for coming on. Your thoughts on the Netanyahu move here, which I don't think a lot of people are surprised by, that they thought if we're actually going to get rid of this problem, you have to get rid of the problem, right?
Absolutely. I think you put it very succinctly in your intro that one of the greatest mistakes Israel ever made was basically giving Gaza to Hamas. Legally speaking, Gaza has always been part of the Jewish sovereign state. From the San Remo Resolution and the League of Nations mandate back in the 1920s, it was supposed to be part of Israel. But what happened is that when Israel declared a state, the surrounding Arab neighbors attacked Israel, and then Egypt took over Gaza. Egypt never annexed Gaza, never claimed to be sovereign over it. There's never been a Palestinian state there. And it was only until the Six-Day War where Israel then was able to reoccupy the area. And when Israel did, it was a thriving community where you had Jews and you had Muslims living side by side. You had a thriving economy. You had equal rights. And unfortunately, the world pressured the Jewish state and said, look, if you only just end the so-called illegal Israeli occupation of Gaza, there will be peace. And the mistake was listening to this pressure. But Israel did it, and the world has never admitted that it has made a mistake. But we see, the obvious basically playing out in front of our eyes right now.
I wanted to ask you, how do you think the propaganda of Hamas has been so effective? I mean, I listen to people that I largely respect in so many ways. I mean, you've Tucker Carlson. I mean, Tim Dillon is a hilarious comedian that's a pretty conservative guy, and they've turned on this thing. I mean, how does anybody actually look at this situation and not see who the good and bad guys are and not understand how obvious what's happening is?
Well, that's what a blood libel is, and unfortunately the Jewish people know it all too well, because for hundreds of years, blood libels have been made up and spread. It used to be, for example, the Jews kill Christian babies and use their blood for the matzah, and now it's the Jews are intentionally starving and killing Palestinian Arab babies. This is all propaganda, and what they're doing is playing on human emotions for these children. And yet, if you dig...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as specifically on the starving of the children, let's go into that for a second, because a lot of people bite on that one. It's pretty clear to me that the food is being poured in, Hamas controls it, and then what happens to it is I guess my question.
I'm happy that you want to clarify this, because it's very important. There is no food shortage in Gaza.
No.
But what is happening is different, by the way, in the north and the south. In the north, where Hamas is in control, Hamas is looting and stealing the food. They have warehouses there that they're keeping the food in. They're keeping their terrorist
There's no
fighters
evidence of
very
that.
well fed, and they are intentionally starving the hostages, and then they are using food as a weapon against their own people that they're forcing to buy it at exorbitant prices. Contrast that to the South, where you have the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation operating,
shooting people.
where there's no food shortage and there's no starvation because the aid is actually getting to the people. Now, this is historically unprecedented, where you have a country that is at war and is actively feeding and ensuring the civilian population of its enemy is not being affected with precision strikes versus the indiscriminate terrorist rocket attacks against Israel. They are taking out Hamas's infrastructure. But then again, we have to step back and we have to ask, what?
I don't know. I just can't listen to it anymore. I'm sorry. I cannot listen to it anymore. Just the lies, the excuses, the delusion that you would have to have in order to ignore all of the evidence, every single group out there telling you, no, there's starvation. You've enacted a blockade, saying, oh, well, no country in history has had to feed the country that they're at war with. Well, they do if they blockaded them. You're not allowed to starve populations that you're at war with. If you've completely surrounded them and blockaded them, it is actually your responsibility. But don't bother mentioning that. Anyway, just showing, Mike Huckabee saying they need Ozempic, Brooke Goldstein saying nobody's starving, it's Hamas's fault. I mean, it's amazing that the human brain is able to create these excuses in order to, just to keep you going along your narrative, to just deny the reality that's in front of you. And in order to do that, you just have to fabricate all of these things. You have to make all of these justifications in your mind. But one day, I do believe one day in the future, they will realize the truth and they will be ashamed of the position that they take. At least that's all that I can hope. Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you could check out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.